Welcome friends to another r/MaliciousCompliance video. While these stories are malicious, one of the least malicious things you could do would be to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. That said, our first story of the day is by I'm the One Who. The Karen of my building told me her keycard isn't working, demanded I fixed her keycard, so I did. This just happened maybe 5 minutes ago and I think it's hilarious. I'm the facility manager for my building. Everything that happens and goes wrong is my responsibility. So I make sure everything runs smoothly. My boss had made it clear, it's my building and I was hired to not only keep people in line, but run everything. I'm not a jerk, but I hold people accountable, forcibly but politely. There was no facility manager for a long time before I came along, and both clients and employees ran amok, with no order. In the 4 months that I've been here, my boss has praised my performance and has gone to bat for me countless times. She's the best boss I've ever had. I've got a firm but fair approach, and my reputation reflects that. I've got a Karen in the building, and trust me, the name stereotype applies. Who's just a counselor for family services, has nothing to do with our group. She likes to complain about everything and gives my boss a headache almost daily. She shares an office with another woman who's unfortunately picking up on her Karen tendencies. Karen in training. I've been doing a keycard audit all week, and I knew to leave Karen's keycard alone because she's the only Karen in the building, so her name stands out. I'm missing 75 keycards. Lots of former employees having all door access dating all the way back to 2015. Can't have that, so I deleted a lot of them, especially if it had a wacky name or just a room number. However, I did delete Karen in Training's card information because it wasn't under her name. She just came to tell me her keycard wasn't working, and Karen happened to be passing by and overheard it. I went and fixed Karen in Training's keycard, and we went to go check to see if it worked or not. We found Karen outside the office waiting, complaining to my boss that her keycard didn't work either. Karen wandered away, and my boss rolled her eyes, and I smiled and told her I would take care of it. After checking to make sure Karen in Training's keycard worked, I went downstairs to check the system, looked up Karen, and wouldn't you know it, her keycard was completely fine. In fact, it showed she had a master keycard. So I changed all of her permissions and limited her back to just her room only. I went upstairs and got my boss's attention because her office is next door to the ladies. And I mouthed, "Listen," and pointed. I opened their door and was all, "Hey Karen, I went and checked your keycard in the system. Everything's good to go. In fact, it said you had a master key to the building, and per the company orders, since you're not a contractor or a company employee, I can't give you that access. So I had to revoke your status to just this room only. Can't have you bugging people on official business. Wink. Thanks for bringing your keycard to my attention." She started to object that she needed the master keycard because XYZ, and I was all, "Yeah, sorry, maybe before, but I'm the facility manager and you don't need access to everything except this office. And if you do, it's outside your pay grade, so you'll have to come get me, okay? Cool, thanks, bye." And then just closed the door on her mid-sentence. My boss was quietly laughing her butt off in her office and gave me an air high five. How much are you guys willing to bet that before OP was there, Karen got access to everything in that master key card by just nagging whoever they could as much as they could, to the point where they were just like, "Oh my god, please just take it, whatever." If you were in this situation and he told Karen that if they wanted something more, they'd have to come see you from now on, let's say Karen starts bothering you all the time for stuff. Would you be more than happy to shut them down every single time? Or would it just get really annoying really quickly? Let me know about you guys in the comments down below. Our next story is by Drecofe. Manipulate my doctor's note? Okay, here's a new one. I work at a distribution center, and unfortunately I injured my knee while working one night. We're not sure what happened, the case is currently ongoing. In the beginning, they were pretty accommodating until they noticed a loophole in my workers' comp doctor's note based on how it's written. This part is important. The note stated to give me 2 to 3 15-minute breaks to rest and ice. The doctor meant this to be included with our regular 2 lunches. The operations manager and HR decided that 2 of those breaks were covered by one of the lunches and would only give me 1 additional 15-minute break. I objected, stating he very well knew what the doctor intended, but he didn't budge. Fine. I go back to the doctor and mention what happened. Naturally, he was annoyed and wrote a new one, stating to give me a 15-minute break every 2 hours. Easy, right? No, the operations manager in HR consolidated my lunches for the breaks because of how it's written. Once again, I go back to the doctor. Now he's pissed and includes, in addition to regular lunches, on the note. Because they're so focused on how it's written, operations manager is furious when I show the note and said he refuses to pay me for those breaks. To which I'm pretty sure is illegal. I submit a letter of concern to the safety supervisor, along with a statement that I'm planning on bringing this matter to a higher power. A carefully chosen word for lawyer. Then spoke with the head of HR. Like magic, operations manager presented me with a reasonable break schedule and has me assigned to a department where I'd be stationary. Bonus, not everybody's a pushover who won't fight back. Good on OP for not letting them just steamroll them over. Stand up for what's right, stand up for your health and what the doctor's saying you should do, and don't let them bully you into not being able to rest in ice like you literally need. Our next story is by TJ Hart 1970. Genetic math? If you say so. When I was a sophomore in high school, our biology teacher gave us a genetic math assignment. We were to use our parents' blood types to determine our possible blood types and then confirm our work by typing our blood in class. This was before current biohazard practices. I am adopted and knew its implications on the assignment, but my teacher didn't ask, and I was looking forward to having a little fun. He wasn't the worst teacher, but I didn't care for him. I'd been a blood donor, so I knew I was AB positive, and based on the assignment, that was not possible. Typing our blood involved pricking our finger, putting blood on 3 separate glass slides, and applying a drop of reactant on each slide. One reactant identified A, one B, and one positive or negative. Of course, all 3 indicated, so I showed the teacher my work with a confused look. The teacher said, "You've obviously messed up your test. Each reactant goes only on 1 slide." I say, "Yes, sir, that's what I did." They say, "Well, something isn't quite right. Let's test again together." We test again, the result was the same. The teacher says, "I'm sorry, someone must have mixed all these reactants. Let's get new bottles and test again." So I prick my fingers a 3rd time, same result. Now the teacher's getting a little nervous. He's stammering a bit. I just look at him, waiting to see what he'll say. At this point, it's worth noting my biology teacher only had 1 volume setting, loud. Any conversation he ever had with any student was clearly heard by the whole class. They said, do you perhaps have anyone you call uncle who isn't really your uncle?" I say, "Oh, sure. Uncle Jim's really my second cousin, once removed on my mother's side." They say, no, I mean, does your mom have any close male friends besides your dad?" I give a confused look. The teacher says, "So I guess what I'm trying to say, At this point, I'd had my fun. My teacher had beads of sweat on his brow and lip. I interrupted him. I said, "Oh, of course, I'm adopted." That was the last year he gave that assignment. While I definitely think that's a pretty interesting assignment, and I know OP said this was before the modern day rules and regulations, but it does surprise me that the teacher actually had these kids prick their fingers and get their blood onto slides and do tests on it. It just kind of blows my mind because I feel like in a regular high school probably, that kind of thing would have never have been allowed. This next story is by I'm a Plebe. "Of course I washed my hands, Mom. Here, you can smell my fingers if you'd like." So my mom has this annoying habit of always asking me if I've washed my hands after I come out of the bathroom. I just turned 23, by the way. She acts as if I'm 3 years old. Anyways, it doesn't even matter if I answer yes, because she will always, without fail, ask if she can smell my fingers to see if she smells the soap and catch me in a lie. A while ago, I had this genius idea to make her stop this nonsense for good. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disgusted with myself for doing it, but I didn't have any other ideas at the time. So I just got done pooping, didn't even bother to turn on the sink at all to make sure she will ask if she can smell my fingers. Then I stick a finger up my butt and walk straight out the door with a big poop-eating grin on my face. I turn around to look at her, and she has this look I'm way too familiar with, and she asks if she can smell my hands. I say, "Of course, Mom." Then she goes on and on that she didn't hear the water turn on and she knows I'm lying, blah blah blah. And I say, I swear, Mom, I did. Smell my fingers if you want. I'm not lying, I swear. The look on her face the moment that nasty smell hit her nose was the happiest moment of my life since I'd moved back in with my parents. She started gagging and ran to the kitchen sink, where she kept gagging for a good few minutes. The best part is that she never said a word to me about it afterwards and has never brought that moment up in conversation ever. She also has never asked to smell my fingers again when I come out of the bathroom. You want to treat me like a little kid? I'll act like a little kid, Mom. It's definitely one thing to do this with your 3-year-old kid, your 8-year-old kid. When your kid's 23 years old, I sure hope you don't have to smell their fingers after they're done with the bathroom. Ain't nothing like sticking a finger up your butt to pull one over on your mom, I guess. And our final story of the day is by Ancient Educator 76. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. There was a time when I worked for a convenience store. I used to call it an inconvenience store as a joke, even before I was aware that Gary Larson made the cartoon about an inconvenience store that had a whole bunch of things impossibly hard to reach, etc. Classic cartoon, by the way. Anyway, this particular store had it all, and we did it all. Pizza, propane. We had a 20,000-gallon tank or whatever size, 12 feet tall. Gas, and in this story, it has a car wash to boot. This car wash is quite unique in its operation. I have a 4-foot cone/barrier that's placed in front of the opening, until someone drives up to the 2-lane entrance that quickly narrows to 1 and turns. About 55 total feet of length. Once someone drives up in one of the lanes, I hear a bell. If I'm the only one in the store, I need to finish ringing up whoever I'm with at the register, apologize to the next guest, and then go outside to the car wash to guide the customer in. It is truly the strangest way to operate a convenience store, hence my aforementioned snark. So anyway, bell rings. I've got a pickup pulling up very, very near the propane tank. Great idea, by the way. I just ring up a customer with no line after her, and someone's about to enter the store. They look trustworthy. They're smiling. I know this isn't a good measure, but it is in this instance. So I say, hey, I'll be right back. Gotta take care of the car wash and propane. Customer was totally cool about it. The second I finish this conversation at the front of the store, I see and hear at the same time some jackwad laying on his horn looking directly at me. I knew he was a jackwad based on his face. Typical jackwad facial expression, like he's absolutely befuddled and stumped as to why someone isn't giving him a back massage while driving his car through the car wash right this second. Anyway, maybe I'm reading into it. Nope. He was so obnoxious about everything right from the get-go. He paid at the machine, the bar let him up, and now he's speeding around a short corner, cutting off the 2nd-lane car. They were there first, I'm deciding in my head, and looking like he's going right into the car wash. The car wash blocked by a 25-pound thing that could only be described as a traffic barrier. Not official, but it stands in its place and is reflective. The guy does not have tinted windows, but he was acting like I couldn't see him. I did the whole wave both arms intermittently back and forth in a large circular motion to get his attention thing, as I realize he's about to drive right over the barrier. I'm half jogging through the gravel and rocks that border the building and car wash lane as I'm waving him down. And the last second he rolls his window down, passenger side where I'm desperately trying to not be right now, and I start to say to him, hey, you can't go yet, there's a barrier, it'll damage your car. I may have said freak up or screw up or mess up instead of damage. Pick which one, but I meant damage. His retort that shouldn't have existed? Don't tell me what to freaking do. You can't tell me what to do, jerk. I guess he's right. It's malicious compliance time. Not that I would have had the opportunity to really do much more telling than I already did. I clammed up right at that exact picosecond. All of a sudden, I can't speak. It's like his behavior, combined with the stress of working multiple jobs, somehow created this vortex, this magic wand that forced me to be unable to do anything except point directly at the front of his car. So he continues through the car wash, dragging our barrier, it getting caught on the little hole that's located dead center in the middle of his car as he attempts to drive through. He gets stuck. Clacks and repetitive clicks are occurring that are way louder than the usual car wash clicks, and all I can do is point, slowly and repetitively like the blinking sign in Beetlejuice, and hope he looks to me for help. He doesn't. The advancer finally catches his wheel, a bad thing at this point, and continues to carry his car, slightly cockeyed, down the car wash system, Finally, as he seems to realize his predicament, he begins to roll his window back down again just as the biggest flappers start whipping the car and him. He was in such a sudden panic that he rolled down both windows now, and he got the soap in his mouth his mother would have otherwise given him for being such a freaking potty mouth. Physics finally did what I would have tried to do and got his car over the barrier, leaving it a mangled mess as he continued on down the lane. By this time, I was behind his car at the opening of the car wash finally. I didn't want to go near his car, my spidey senses were a tingle, as I saw him speed through the wash, shooting through the other side, jumping out of his car as he quickly laid on his side and back in order to see the damage to his car. He starts to yell across the length of the car wash something like, "Are you kidding me? Look at this freaking crap." But just as he was about to say more things, the beautiful ring of the car wash being activated drowned out his anger-filled whatever he was going to say. I take a breath, pick up the mangled mess of a traffic blockade, and toss it aside as I invite the second car on in. The customer waiting to go inside the store looked at me smiling, almost laughing as he shook his head. Once I got the second car through, confirmation that no damage was done to our machine, just the blockade, I walked towards the customer who happened to provide me with a gift even greater than the 20 he handed me. A good old, "Hey, don't worry about that jerk. I saw the whole thing and I'll tell your manager what went down. Nothing you could do, man. Thank you." And exactly. I just know, considering it's an inconvenience store, that this still is gonna somehow end up being OP's fault with the manager. It probably is gonna be some big old thing. I hope the best for OP because they don't deserve to be the fall guy for this incompetent fool. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.